besties, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Grace. Lovely to meet you. So for today's video, we're going to be talking about my May wrap-up. I read a total of 6 books, and then I listened to 3. So total of 9. Yay math. So let's get into it. So the first book I read in May was Throttled by Lauren Asher. This is the first book in the Dirty Air series, which is an interconnected standalone series, so each book is about a different couple. This book is about Maya and Noah. Maya is the sister of Santi, and he is an up-and-coming F1 driver, and he was recently signed to a big sponsor, Bandini, and she decides to tag along for this year's, like, what is it called, season, and she's like a vlogger. She vlogs their traveling, the F1 racing, everything like that. And then Noah is a big deal in the F1 racing world. He is a very good F1 driver, and his dad was also an F1 legend. And him and Santi, Maya's brother, kind of have a rivalry because of some things that went down a few years ago. So he is not happy that Santi is his new teammate. This is, I want to say, a sports romance, brother's rival, forbidden romance, kind of. Yeah, those are the 3 biggest tropes. This was a 3.5 for me. I really liked the book. I liked the characters, but it just didn't have anything substantial. I absolutely loved the representation of men going to therapy. I really enjoyed that aspect because, let's be honest, Noah has a lot of issues, and I'm glad that he's working through them. So the next book I read in May, I do not have the physical copy with me. It's being lent out to a friend, but that is Happy Place by Emily Henry. This is her newest release. It came out in April, I want to say, and it's about Harriet and Wynn. Harriet and Wynn used to be engaged. They dated for like 10 years through college, everything. However, they recently broke off their engagement, and they didn't tell any of their friends because every year their friends go on a big trip to Maine and stay at this lake house. And they didn't want to ruin the trip, so they just didn't tell their friends. They parted ways quietly. They have an agreement where they're going to switch off every year who goes on this trip just to keep things civil. However, this plan does not work because Harriet is surprised by her friends that Wynn is there when he said he couldn't go. And basically, it's second chance, found family, friends to lovers, forced proximity because they have to stay in the same room together when they're broken up. It's fake dating because they have to pretend like they're still together even though they're not in front of their friends. So yeah, this was a 5-star for me. I loved this book so much. It was emotionally tolling, I will tell you that. I was not in a happy place while reading this, but I loved every second of it. I loved every pain that was inflicted on me. The next book I read was Flawless by Elsie Silverton. This is the first book in the Chestnut Spring series, which, if you did not know, has a chokehold on the whole book community right now. We are all in our cowboy era. Flawless is about Rhett and, oh, what is her name? Summer. Rhett and Summer. And Rhett is a bull rider, and he recently experienced a scandal. So he lost one of his biggest sponsors. You know, people aren't really liking him as much as they used to. So Summer is the daughter of Rhett's manager or agent. So she is basically sent on this work task to babysit Rhett and make sure he's on his best behavior, make sure he doesn't get into any trouble, things like that, just, you know. So Rhett does not like this. He is very annoyed that he's like a grown man and he's being assigned a babysitter. So yeah, let's see, I rated this book a 4 out of 5. I really, really enjoyed it. It's forced proximity, forbidden love, because Summer's kind of off limits. It's a cowboy romance. There's aspects of frenemies to lovers, friends to lovers, that kind of thing, like frenemies to friends to lovers, I would say, because there is, at the start of book, dislike. There is distastefulness between the two. However, it doesn't last very long. So, it's small town. What else? I think those are the main ones. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I'm looking forward to reading the next two. I just thought the whole aspect of bull riding was so fascinating. This book is on the slower burn side. Like, they don't really get together until later in the book. It's not like Mario and Zapata slow burn, but still slow burn in my eyes, which I really enjoy because I don't like insta love. Like, they develop their friendship and then that slowly leans into a relationship, so I loved that development. But yeah, the whole bull riding aspect, I personally wouldn't go out and like watch a bull riding event, but I think this was just such a fun change of pace because not a lot of books focus on that. I feel like that's just a new thing that Elsie Silverton did. So yeah, highly recommend. Go into your cowboy era. Yeehaw. So the next book I read in May, I technically listened to it because it was an audiobook, but it was The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. I'm pretty sure this was her newest book release. It's an adult romance, so there is spice. And honestly, I can't remember the two characters' names, but I know the premise of the book, so just hear me out. So basically, it's about these two people. It's dual POV, and they meet at a wedding, and they hook up. So it's one night stand. She leaves thinking that she's never going to see this man again. They both sign up for online dating, and they somehow match with each other. They somehow find each other on this dating app. But the girl's like, I don't want to date you. I just think it's funny that I found you on here. They start talking. They kind of develop like a sense of friendship, camaraderie almost, and they strike up a deal. They strike up a love wager, if you will, and they basically bet who will enter a long-term relationship by using this dating app first. And they end up going to like matchmaking events. They have dates at the same restaurant, and then if the date is bad, they like give each other outs and they go and hang out on their own. As you can imagine, this ends up becoming a big old pickle, and they end up developing feelings for one another. I would say the tropes are friends to lovers. There is some aspect of fake dating in here towards the end of the book. And what else would I say? Oh, he falls first. Definitely he falls first. Love. I rated this book a 3 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really cute. However, the girl was just so annoying. I feel like I blocked out their names because I found her character so infuriating. It was very much, oh, I'm a quirky girl. I'm not like the other girls. Like shut up. I just can't deal with you right now. But that was like my main critique. I liked it. It was a fun time. I feel like if I read it, I might have enjoyed it a little bit more because it is kind of, because this was my first ever audiobook I've listened to. So it is kind of a learning curve of listening to voices, and that can kind of be off-putting at times. So yeah, honestly, highly recommend. It's a fun rom-com. I think if you like Lynn Painter and you like books with, I don't even want to say fluff, because there was a lot of spice in this book, so much so that I had to like fast forward. Like, that is just so off-putting to hear like spice scenes spoken out to you, I don't know, read to you. Yeah, 3 out of 5, cute book, off-putting listening to spice. So the next book is also an audiobook. It's Romantic Comedy by Curtis Setterfield, and it's Second Chance, Friends to Lovers, and He's Famous. So it's about Sally and Noah. Sally is a SNL writer, essentially. It's not called SNL in the book. It's called like the Night Owls or something, but it's basically SNL, so I'm just gonna refer it as that. And Noah is the host and musical guest for that week's show. And so it starts out like a few years in the past, and it just shows like the writing process, like how rehearsals for the show itself, and like throughout that week, Sally and Noah kind of have like fleeting flirtatious moments, but Sally can't really tell if he likes her because he's kind of out of her league, essentially. I don't like using that phrase, but that's basically how she feels throughout the book. And then time jumps into the future, and it takes place during the pandemic. And Noah reaches out to Sally after they're falling out, and they kind of strike up a friendship. So that's kind of where the romance picks up. I rated this book a 3 out of 5 just because I did not like that this book took place during the pandemic. I read as a way to like escape reality, and so like reading about the pandemic and like coronavirus and things like that, it just did not hit with me. It did not land with me. I lived through that, so I don't really want to read about that. But I do think the romance itself was very cute. I really loved Noah. He was such a great character. Sally, on the other hand, was not my favorite. And I feel really bad being critical about her character because I did like her at some points. I think this book did such a good job of being very politically correct and things like that, especially writing about COVID, where a lot of things happened, but she just got on my nerves. The whole time she was just creating problems for herself that did not need to be there, and I get it. Like, you're an overthinker like me, you're anxious, I get it. But girl, he literally told you to come to his house and stay with him. Like, don't overthink it. Just go with the flow, honestly. But it was a 3 out of 5. I really did enjoy the first half. I enjoyed their like emailing back and forth. I thought that was really cute. But the whole like corona pandemic thing, it just wasn't for me. So the next book I read was Collided by Lauren Asher. This is the second book in the Dirty Air series, and it's about Sophie and Liam. We get crumbs and hints about Sophie in the first book. So I was really excited to actually pick this up. Liam is an F1 driver for McCoy, which is the rival team for Bandini, and Sophie is the daughter of the team manager from Bandini. So it's kind of like rivals almost, forbidden romance, because they are from rivaling teams. It's friends to lovers, friends with benefits, things like insta-love, kind of. There is no slow burn. I guess it takes a while for them to officially get together, but I don't know. There's always that initial attraction. There's no like platonicness between them. So this was a 2.5 for me. I just wasn't the biggest fan. I just feel like, again, the insta-love just got me. I felt like they were always together at some aspect. Like, they were never just like friends and there was no like yearning. It's just, oh, I'm gonna flirt with her, and then he gets shot down, like, repeatedly until she, like, finally is like, I like you. And that just did not do it for me. I really liked Liam's character. I liked his character development. I liked all the things that he, like, patched up his family. Like, he's there for his nieces now. He's dealing with his grief. But Sophie just did not land for me. Her character was very much like, I'm not like the other girls. I'm quirky. I wear sneakers with my dresses, and I wear graphic tees because I don't care what I look like. Things like that. And I hate that. Like that is so outdated and so, like, almost like sexist, because who cares if girls like to dress in heels and like to do their makeup, and who cares if you don't? Like, why does that need to be why does that need to be part of your personality? So 2.5, I'll probably carry on with this series just because I really like Lauren Asher, and people are telling me to just get over this book and charge ahead. So that's what I will be doing. So the next book I read was In a Jam by Kate Canterbury. I loved this book so much. It's about Shay and Noah. And before I continue, let's just take a moment and bring to light the fact that this is like the third or fourth book I've read in May with the main character's name being Noah. Like, why is that? What is up with the name Noah that everybody just is like, yeah, that's the name. That is what I want to name my mediocre white boy character. I just don't get it. But anyways, it's about Shay and Noah. Shay is left at the altar. She's a jilted bride. She leaves her wedding, and then a few days later, she gets a letter, and it's basically like, your step-grandmother left her farm to you, and if you want to inherit it, you have to go live there for like 50% of the year, and then you also have to be married. And if you're not married, if you don't meet these requirements, then the farm is just going to be donated to the town of Friendship where it's at. So Shay's like, I have nothing better to do. Let's go and hang out on my grandma's farm, because what else am I doing with my life, honestly? So she goes and she runs into her past friend, Noah, and they haven't spoken since high school. They were really close. He's now the owner of like Little Star Farm, and they have like jam animals. Like, they're a big business. They're a big aspect of the whole town and like community, things like that. So, and he is the sole guardian of his niece, Jenny. So that's where the single dad comes in. But basically, Noah has had a crush on Shay ever since they were teenagers. Shay does not know that. She always just thought they were really good friends, things like that. But he was a little shy back then, so he never like voiced his feelings, things like that. But he offers to marry her so she is able to inherit her grandma's farm. In return, he will get like a portion of that land. Of course, this is all just a facade, and he loves her, but yeah. This was a 4.5. I loved this book so much. I was really worried that I wouldn't like the single dad trope, because I don't like kids in books, but Jenny was so endearing. She was so precious. Love her. I loved her relationship with Shay. I think that's one of the things that made me fall in love with the book instantaneously. So, highly recommend if you like small town. Marriage of Convenience, top tier trope for me. I just love it. If you like fake dating, you will like Marriage of Convenience tropes. I feel like people think Marriage of Convenience tropes are weird. Like, my boyfriend was giving me so much crap because he's like, it's basically just an arranged marriage, Grace. Like, why do you like that? And I'm like, no, you don't understand, so just don't talk to me. Leave me alone, don't talk to me. I can't hear the hate right now. Sorry, only good vibes. So the next book I read was an audiobook, and this was A Million Junes by Emily Henry. This is like in her back catalog. I don't feel like a lot of people talk about it like at all. This is a YA romance kind of paranormal book, and basically it's about June and Saul. And June and Saul live in some town in Michigan, and there's a lot of history there. June and Saul are experiencing like paranormal things, and they're trying to uncover the secrets between their family's feud and why they don't like each other and why bad things keep happening to their family, things like that. I really love this book. I feel like it was very much a coming of age. I really liked the paranormal aspect, the mystery involving like what's going on between their two families, trying to uncover those secrets. That was really interesting. I would rate this book like a 3 out of 5. It wasn't anything like crazy good like compared to Emily Henry's other books. However, I really enjoyed it. I think if you love Emily Henry, you will as well. I feel like her writing style hasn't really, like, it's very similar to her other books. I liked the romance in it, but it didn't overshine it. Like, honestly, I think it's more of a coming of age than romance. To be fair, I really liked Junie. I liked Saul. So yeah, honestly, not much to talk about in this book. I feel like like it was a lot, but it's just hard to like describe, I guess, because there is so many like aspects to the paranormal part of the book that I just feel like I can't describe very well. But yeah, it was a 3 out of 5. I really liked it. Honestly, sometimes YA does not hit for me because it comes off very juvenile. Like, that's how I felt about the Inheritance games. Like, the characters just didn't, they felt very childish and like I just couldn't relate to them. But I really liked all the characters in this book. I didn't think they were too childish or juvenile. Like, Junie is like 18, I think, and I think she behaves in a manner that an 18-year-old would. So yeah. So the last book I read in May was Savage Lover by Sophie Lark. This is part of the Brutal Birthright series, which is an interconnected standalone series. It's a mafia romance series as well, so make sure to look up trigger warnings because it is a dark romance. There are a lot of heavy topics in these books, but Nero is part of the Gallo family, which is an old school Italian family, and Camille is a mechanic. Her dad is also a mechanic, but he's sick, and her brother is going down like a very bad road. So Camille is constantly trying to help her family, looking out for her family, but there's no one looking out for her. And that's kind of like where Nero comes in. They kind of develop some sort of like friendship, things like that. He wants to help her, but he doesn't like quite understand why, because he's not a nice guy. He's kind of selfish. It's very out of character for him to care for somebody that isn't his family. Yeah, honestly, really, really love this book. It was a 4 out of 5 for me. Compared to the other books, I feel like not much happened. It's very much more character driven. There is big plot points, a lot of drama, but in the relative scheme of things, this one wasn't the craziest, but I still really liked Nero. I liked Camille. Sophie Lark does an amazing job of writing strong female characters. So yeah, this book is also very, very spicy, so I guess you have that to look forward to if you read it. So yeah. So that is it for my video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below and subscribe for more videos. I have a lot of new videos planned, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. I also have a bookstagram. It's called currently.overbooked. It's linked in the description. I post daily. I post reels, reviews, book updates, life updates, things like that. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. See you soon. Goodbye.